Okay, so we're gonna videotape this because I think we need to. So we're gonna be using Desmos. So Desmos will group everything or order it for you. So let's go ahead and put some data in. So I don't care what order you put it in. You can copy what I'm putting. It's up to you. 10, 22, 28. Do what? Yes, you do. That's why I've got commas in there.
36.
Another 10. A 14 and a 20. 14 and 20 and 18 and 12. Do I have that 22 already in there? I think I do. It's a 36 and a 30. This is what I'm gonna have to do because I'm gonna get confused up here as I put them in. I'm gonna cross through them. And that way I know that I've got them all.
36.
So I've got a 10, I've got a 22, 28, 10, and 14, 28, 10, 14, 20, 18, 12, 20, 18, 12, 36, 30, 36, 36, oh, is there no 30 there? No 30, messed up on that. 36 and another 36. 12, 10, and 30. Did I do 12, 10, and 30? No, I did over here. 12, 10. 12, 10, 20. 12, 10, 20, 32. 16, 20. 16, 20. So whoever put 4, that's bull too. Throwing that out because that's not, it throws our data off when you put stuff that's not true. 19. 6 is not true. 20.
Ooh, crap. Sorry.
48, 14. Okay.
You sleeping the whole weekend?
6 is not true.
Of course, that's precious.
48? Dang. Oh, no,
And then you close it with a bracket. Okay, so go ahead and get all your data in. Tells you how many, 20 elements, because only 20 people were gave me the right information that I asked for. The others wanted to play. And I'm not much in the playing mood today because we got to get through this course and start reviewing. Doesn't matter what order because the computer will order it for you. Makes no difference. So I've got my data in. And the first thing I'm going to find out is I think I want to know the 5-number summary. So, has everybody finished getting this?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll put it over here. So I kind of want to know what does it look like? What does our data look like? And not only what does it look like, but what is the 5-number summary? So watch this. This is cool stuff. So once we have our list in, you're going to open a window underneath. Okay? You're going to go down to the bottom and open up this. If it's not already opened up, you open up your... Oh, yeah. Where'd it go?
It's lower.
Oh, there it is. Open this up and go to Functions. When you go to Functions, you're going to scroll down and find where it says Stats. Right here, Stats. And it's going to ask you, what do you want the stats of? I want it of list X. So I have to put a great big X, make sure it's capitalized. And now I've got my 5-number summary.
Oh my.
Yes, that's for statistics. Now, let's say, well, I also want to know what does this bad boy look like. I'm going to open another window, and I'm going to go back down to Functions, and I'm going to go down until I see where it says Box Plot. Right there. I got to tell box plot of which list I want to do X, and then I can hit the little eyeglass here, little thing, and it will show me what it looks like.
Box plot. And it hit what?
Your little hourglass. I mean, little that thing, that magnifying glass. A box plot of X, because my list is X, whatever your list is. Yours doesn't say what. Okay, you have X plus. It should be that. It should be a capital X, and it should say equals. That's your problem. There you go. Now, down here, you got to put a capital X, because that's what it's called.
Oh, you do put capital.
And you only have 12 elements, and I've got 20, so you don't have all the elements in there, so you're not going to get the same data I have. You're not going to get the same numbers.
32.
Miss Boston, where is box plot?
Why does it?
Show you how to do what?
How did you do the stats part?
Okay, so you're going to hit this down here,
Oh, okay.
hit this little keyboard thing down here, then you're going to hit the functions. Okay, so then hit functions, which is right here. After you hit functions, you're going to go down, scroll it until you get to stats, which is right
Up,
where?
back up to right there.
Where?
Bottom.
It should be right there.
It's right there. Under, okay, stats, go to statistics, and then all the way down.
Stats, length, total. Right up.
Okay, right there. Thank you. So right here's your stats. And you hit that. But when you tell it stats, it's going to throw up, it wants the stats of what? I might have multiple lists in here. You want to know what list do you want your stats of? I want of the list X. So I put an X. Make sure your X's are capital. So I put my X in, and it gives me the 5-number summary. Then I say, well, I want to know what it looks like. So I open another window. I go back to functions, and I go down where it says box plot, or you can type box plot in there. It'll do it that way too. But it'll want box plot of what? Which list? I want box plot of X. So when I do that, then I can hit this little, well, it's not there now, but there's a little magnifying glass. You hit that, and it puts it right here for you. Okay? So far, what I have done is I'm going to go right over here, and I'm going to hopefully be able to see.
It's Lexi.
So I can draw the box plot. So I'm going to make my rectangle, and it looks like my median is almost in the middle. Not quite, almost in the middle. And it looks like I've got a really long whisker on the right, and I have a shorter one on the left. It looks like my minimum on my 5-number summary, my minimum is 10. My Q1 is 13. My median is 19.5. My Q3 is 25. And my max is 48. They slept the whole weekend. Okay. Now I have my box plot with my 5-number summary. Now I can answer some questions. What percentage of you sleep 25 hours or less?
75.
75% of you. How many of you sleep between 25 and 48 hours?
25.
25%. How many sleep between 10 and 13 hours?
25.
25%. Okay. What do you think you would put if I asked you what the 100th percentile is? What? I think I heard it.
Add them all together.
No. If I want to know the 100th percentile, 48.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, it is 48.
48 is your 100th percentile. What's my 25th percentile?
13.
13. 50th percentile? 19.5. Can you give me a mean from that? No, you can't. No way you can get a mean off that. I can get a median, but not a mean. So, can you give me a standard deviation? No. Can you give me a range? You can, because all you do, what is your range?
38.
38. You take your max, subtract your min, and 38. IQR. What's your IQR?
It'd be 12.
12, because you take your Q3 and subtract your Q1. So those things I can give you. Now watch this. I can now get the mean. Let me go back over here. And the standard deviation. We're going to talk about standard deviation in a minute. Yes. Do what now?
No, it's 48 for the max.
Where do you find a box plot?
Huh?
Where do you find a box plot? Like, I can't find it.
Go down. It's right after the. Go up. Right there. It's right there. It's right below where your finger's at. The next one down.
Okay. So now, let's say, well, I want to know what the mean is, and I want to know what the standard deviation is. I'm going to open another window. I can keep opening windows because I'm dealing with the same thing. And I'm going to go down to functions, and I'm going to now find where it says mean. Or let's do mean first.
It's top left.
Mean.
Yeah.
What's the mean of what? Mean of that x. It's 20.85.
That's super easy.
It is. Now I want to know the standard deviation. I'm going to open up another window, and I'm going to go to functions, and I'm going to find STDEV
Statistics
right here. See this? Standard deviation of what? Of x. Standard deviation is 10.29 or 10.3 if you round it. Everything is right there.
You said it's STD.
DEV, standard deviation. Now the standard deviation tells you how spread out your data is and how peaked it is. When your data is spread out, you have less of a peak. Can I borrow a piece of paper? So, do what?
It doesn't matter. It's just the color that desmos gives you.
Yeah. Okay, so this is data. This is the best way I know to understand it. And I had to be refreshed today myself because I was like, I don't remember how to do this. And I don't think I taught it last year, and I needed to teach it. This is data, okay? If I take this data and I compact it, what's happening in that middle? Is it getting peaked?
Yes.
That's called a peak, right? So when your data is close, squishy, your peak is higher. As you spread your data, what happens to your peak?
Gets lower.
It gets lower. So that's important information. If you have a peaked data, you have a small spread. If you have a less peak or no peak data, you have a wide spread. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Standard deviation is going to tell you that when you're comparing. So this is for when you're comparing data. When you're comparing, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. We'll look at that. You're going to have to write this down on your notes because this is important. I want you to write down when the standard deviation lowers, that's when we're comparing. When the standard deviation lowers, Ellie, we're supposed to be writing this down. When the standard deviation lowers, wait until you get that written down. When your standard deviation lowers, we're going to talk about this in just a minute. You're going to see what I'm talking about. You have a higher peak and less of a spread. When the standard deviation goes down, you have a higher peak and a less spread. So if your standard deviation goes up, you have a lower peak and more spread. Remember, the more spread, the lower the peak. So when the standard deviation goes down, when it lowers, the higher the peak and the less spread. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. This standard deviation is 20.8, no, that's the mean, is 10.297. I'm going to write that over here, 10.297. That's for the data we have in there now. 10.297, this is the standard deviation. Is 10 point, now I'm going to add some more times in there. I'm going to add Well, I'm gonna just make up some times because that wasn't gonna tell me who put the stupid times in there. Okay, so this is what I can do too. Let me think of how you do this. Let me see how he did this. He did, I'm gonna try to copy. Okay, see here? So if you're having to put another set of data in, but they're just gonna add some data, I just wanna copy that same data. That way I don't have to write it all again. So I'm gonna copy it. But now I'm going to have to call it something else. So I'm going to call it Y. Oops, where'd it go?
Wait, what did you just?
Hold on, I'll show you again. What I'm going to do is I want to take the same data. I want to take the same data, but I want to add data to it. And I don't want to have to type all those again. Are you looking? So I go up here to the little wheel. And when I click on it, you see here? That's your copy. I just copied it. And then it's going to copy it exactly. So it's going to say X, I got to change it. I got to make it say Y because I want to do the new set of data. We're going to take everybody's sleep hours and I'm going to add some hours to it. We're going to see what happens with standard deviation. Hey.
Quick question. Ms. Lyons' thing is in Nisa's now. Can you see it to put her peer observation in?
Oh, I don't know. I'll check.
Okay, let me know.
I'll do it. Okay. Okay, so what I did was I'm getting ready to add more data to this. But do I want to retype all this? No. So I wanted to copy this. So I did. I had to name it something else. I can't name it the same name. And now I'm going to go ahead and add some more data in. And we're going to see what happens with the standard deviation. That's what I'm trying to do. So let's say, yes.
Does it have to be capital?
Yes. What does what? Does what we name it? I already told you it did. Yes. Your name has to be a capital letter. Name has to be a capital letter. So I'm going to add my sleep. I should have asked Miss Church how much sleep she got. Okay, I'm going to add my sleep in here, and I can put it anywhere. Let me put, how much sleep do I get? I'm going to say 24. 24. Okay, I'm adding my sleep. Now I'm going to add, say somebody else got 30. And
I want 30 hours of sleep.
let's do a 15. Okay, so I added 3 more times. Now I want to look at the standard deviation for set Y. So I'm going to go down to standard deviation.
Miss Foster, it's not going to show up because you had a Y at the end of the numbers. Because you put a Y at the
Oh yeah, it shows me that little caution says something's wrong. Yeah. We can't have that. Thank you. Okay. So standard deviation of Y. Now my standard deviation is 9.86. So my new standard deviation is 9.86.
Thank you.
Now, would you say that my new data is more spread or less spread? Let's go with that first. Less spread. Is my new data, does it create a higher peak or a lower peak? Higher peak. Less spread, higher peak. That question is on your EOC. That very question that we just did is going to be on your EOC. That's why you have to understand this standard deviation thing. I don't want you to do this easy stuff. You're going to be working out these tomorrow. So, we put data in, we got our standard deviation. We put more data in, and we got our standard deviation again. Because my standard deviation went down, I have less spread, but a higher peak. And that's the answers were. The data distribution would become less peaked and more widely spread. That's A. Not on that problem. B, the data distribution would become less peaked and less widely spread. Well, first of all, can it be less peaked and less widely spread? No, it can't. If it's less peaked, it's more widely spread. The data distribution would become more peaked and less widely spread, or the data distribution would become more peaked and more widely spread. So that is the problem concerning the standard deviation, and that is how you find the standard deviation. And if I wanted to look at the other box plot, I could go in here. Now, I told you before, you could go to functions, and you could find box plot, or you could type in, and it can't be caps, box plot, and I have to put my Uh-oh. What'd I do?
You put brackets instead of parentheses.
You have the square parentheses.
Oh, shoot. I know what I did. There we go. So now the blue one, the green one must be the original and the blue one's the next one.
No, the purple one's the old one.
The purple one's the old one and the green one's the new one.
Yes, ma'am.
And that shows you, look, your spread. You got more spread on the green one, didn't you? The more spread, the less peak. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you guys understand that concept?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand that if you go to functions, well, you can type in box plot. Or if you go to functions, you can find everything right in there. You just have to scroll through and find what you're looking for. Okay, now, I want you, let's go ahead and let's quit mirroring this. And let's start mirroring that.
Can we delete all?
I don't care.
So when we're taking our our end of the year test or whatever,
Uh-huh.
we're gonna have desmos.
The calculator active part you will. The first part is calculator inactive. There's no way to get to it. The second part is
And most of the stuff that's on calculator active doesn't give you the answer straight from the calculator.
some of it. No, it does.
Yeah, most of it does, but some of it doesn't.
Yeah, we're going to be doing some practice tests. Okay, so the worksheet that I gave you when you walked in, that you got, I didn't give it to you. We need to go ahead and fill that out. So let's look at this. I don't really know what they wanted on these arrows, but this is what I said to put.
Oh, you missed one at the top. The very top, yeah.
Where?
The two blank groups.
Huh?
The one at the top
Oh.
A box. Yeah.
These, this, and that?
No, the
About
data values into blank groups.
Oh. Well, that's if you're doing it by hand, so you don't have to worry about that. Because they're going to want you to... Box whisker plot is a data display that organizes data values into... I don't even know what they want you to put there, to be honest with you.
I think four or five. But it says into 4.
Maybe 4 groups. Maybe that's what it wants. You can put a 4. Oh, it does have here. Okay. So maybe that's what they want there. I didn't know what they wanted there. 4 groups. Okay, and I don't know why they have all these arrows because this, if it was pointing here, I'd understand it, but it's not. This one I get. This one I get. I don't know what they want for that or that, so we're going to put what I think.
Why 25%?
Well, no, I don't think so. They're not doing the percentages. I think, well, maybe yes, maybe I did say yes. Well, we're not going to worry about it. We're going to do this. 25%. 25%. This little piece right here, 25%. And then this is 25%. Here you're going to have a minimum. Here you have a maximum. This is your median. This is your Q1. And this is your Q3. And that gives you all of it in a nutshell.
What are the other things?
What other things? I don't know what they want for this one. I'm not sure what they want for that or for that. So don't worry about it.
Oh, that's is that what they mean by the lower quartile?
It might be the 25%, I'm not sure. But I just did mine like this.
I know in
Or I
other
could
days that's the lower and that's the upper quartile.
Now your median is the same as your Q2. So Q2 and median are same thing. Down here, the lower quartile, the median of the lower half. Upper quartile, the median of the upper half. Lower extreme is the minimum value, and upper extreme is your maximum value. If I was going to make you learn how to do this by hand, you'd worry about the steps for creating in the box. We are not going to do that. I don't think you need to know it, because I don't think you're going to have to do that on your calculator in active. So we're doing everything in Desmos. So when you're done, I want you to turn to the very last page, and I want you to fill out all these blanks right here as best you know how based on what you've just learned. The multiple choice, or not, the fill in the blanks, yeah, on the last page. Yes. And that's all of the video for Box and Whisker.